Hello and welcome to the OCVarsity Gridiron Show week. What week is this, guys? Because we're so professional. Week 8, 14, Steve says. Maybe sometimes it feels like 14, but not this year. We're having a great year. I'm your host, Jonathan Khamis. To my left, Steve Fryer. To my right, Dan Albano. And first, we will talk about our stars of the previous week in Week 7. Steve, who is it this week?
Modern-day receiver Osiris St. Brown, 11 catches, 149 yards, 3 touchdowns in a win over Orange Lutheran.
I'll go ahead and go with the defensive guy this week, and that is Parker Thomas out of Edison. The kid had 3 sacks as the Chargers forced Los Alamitos into 10 plays of negative yardage in the second half. Dan, who do you have from the previous week?
Well, I got another great player from another great defense, and that's Brock Reese of Capo Valley. Brock had 11 total tackles, 2 for losses, and 1 sack in a big victory over El Toro. Capo Valley 2-0 in the Seaview League.
All right, that's the Seaview League. Let's stay in South County. San Juan Hills will be visiting San Clemente, 6-2 SJH, taking on 5-2 San Clemente. They've won their last 3 games in a row. Steve, what jumps out at you in this matchup?
Well, 2 really good teams. I'll tell you, San Juan Hills is one of the more impressive teams in terms of, I thought they were going to have a big drop-off from last year to this year. They're really solid. Again, what are they, 6-2, I think, Danny? But as far as like who's going to win this game, I still like the Triton, San Clemente. You know, they lost a couple games you didn't think they were going to lose, but right now they seem to be getting together. Offensive scoring, Reeves, Sears, the whole group. But defensively, they've stepped it up pretty good as well. So I like San Clemente in this game.
Defensively, San Clemente, what did they do last game, guys? Well, they held Tesoro to 59 passing yards in the first half. Junior Jack Shippey, Dan, had 2 interceptions and 7 tackles. So I know you talked about San Clemente's defense in a previous show, and looks like they're stepping up in crunch time.
Yeah, there's so much for San Clemente to play for this in this game. You know, because San Juan's coming off a loss against Mission Viejo. It was an even second half for the Stallions against Diablos, but the first half really got away from San Juan Hills. So San Clemente, they have so much to play for because they could still set up that Week 10 game against Mission Viejo. So, and I think Tritons really need a big showing where in some of their spotlight games, they have that nice victory against Palos Verdes, but they had a tough go against Oceanside. They had a tough go against La Mirada. This is one that San Clemente, if they can play well and win this game, then we're going to be taking that Mission Viejo San Clemente game a lot serious. I think everybody will be.
Yep. Okay, let's go up north where the Freeway League will have a pretty darn good matchup. This will be the best Freeway League of the game of the season, I think, guys. We can all agree on that. 4-3 La Habra. They're on a 3-game winning streak, taking on 6-1 Buena Park. And La Habra's had their number no matter how good Buena Park's been the last couple of years. Does it change this year? Do the Coyotes finally get a hold on the Highlanders?
Coach Anthony White's going to have to tell the kids on his Buena Park football team, they're just like us. They're just fellas like us. We can do this. Let's do it. And then Mazzotta kind of flipping it over, saying, hey, these guys, man, we always have them where we want them. Let's go ahead and do it. La Habra football, La Habra pride, La Habra tradition. See all those numbers up there, those consecutive banners represented by the numbers, 2010, 11, 12, and all that. You don't want to be the team that goes 215, then 217, that 2016's missing. Frank's going to be telling that. I think the kids are going to listen. I think La Habra gets this win.
Thanks, Coach Fryer. I am super motivated right now. All right, Dan. Buena Park, they beat Fullerton last week 21-7. They actually used their backup quarterback, James Rafkin, the Lakewood transfer. He came in the second half and threw 2 touchdowns specifically in the third quarter. So can the Coyotes ride Rafkin perhaps to a win against La Habra?
I was thinking that my pick was going to be Buena Park until I saw that Fullerton score. I don't think that was that impressive a score for, it was a scoreless first half.
Yes.
I don't think that was an impressive score. Now, maybe that's the game before the build-up, but it's awful very late in the year before a big game to be using a new quarterback. Harvey's been their guy, and I thought played pretty well and pretty tough against St. Francis. I was up at that game, and I went there to check out the Coyotes. So that gives me great concern, that game against Fullerton. But I'm going to still stick with the Coyotes that they can win this game. But, I don't know what exactly what's going on at quarterback, but it's got a lot closer to me, and I think they'll have to squeak it out. It's at Buena Park.
Okay, finally, guys, Pacific Coast League time. This is a game on Thursday. Both 6-1 on the year. Corona Del Mar riding a 6-game win streak. They will play University. This game is at Estancia. The Sea Kings beat Beckman last week, 55-17 last week. And I know this is a kid who you absolutely adore, Steve, and that's Garbers. He had 6 touchdowns passing, the Cal commit.
Like I keep saying, he's going to be better at Cal than Jared Goff was. I really think so.
One overall
I remember
pick.
this in about 4 years or something like that. Well, you know what? I was excited about University and what they were doing until they lost to Beckman. And that kind of go, gosh darn it. You know, we thought before the season Woodbridge was going to be Corona Del Mar's biggest challenge. That didn't happen. Woodbridge, kind of up and down quite a bit this year. University's having a great year. 6-1, man, that is fantastic. But Corona Del Mar looks, so much better than the rest of the teams in the Pacific Coast League, and I think they roll in this game.
Yeah, CDM's really, really good. Dan, Uni beat Northwood last week, 24-21. It was a last second, 3 seconds left on the clock. Field goal by Nick Loveland. Clark Smith, watch out for him on the ground. He had 2 touchdowns rushing.
Yeah, Uni's solid. I mean, they have they're kind of a rising program in the Pacific Coast League. This could be the Corona Del Mar's biggest challenge, but CDM is just owning the Pacific Coast League right now. Uni's has a couple good defensive backs, a couple corners, including Darius, who's a Fresno State commit. So they have some DBs to match up with Corona Del Mar's receiving core. But the problem is that I think University has not seen anything like that spread attack with Chase Garbers, the running back. CDM's doing a good job. And Chase moving the pocket. So I expect CDM to win big. And I mean, one of the shockers of the year really for me was last week, Irvine beating Woodbridge. That really stunned me. That was one of the biggest upsets of the year.
All this Irvine talk makes me miss Tim Burt.
The mayor.
The mayor.
What would the mayor say about that big Irvine victory over Woodbridge?
Oh,
he had to be surprised by that.
I'm sure he has a lot to say. Shout out to Tim Burt. Thanks to Steve Fryer. Thanks to Dan Albano. And if you're wondering where we are at Mater Dei High School. There might be a big game this week, guys. Maybe a little bit.
I heard something's
schedule.
going on at
Yeah.
Cerritos College
We'll
Friday night, 7:30.
Yeah, rings a bell, I guess.
All national eyes on.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. So that game will be previewed on the OCVarsity Gridiron Extra Show. Make sure to check that out. We'll have interviews and all kinds of fun stuff. And make sure you check out OCVarsity.com where we've got you covered. Thanks for watching.